चुटकी पी
priorities
देता हूं।
are India's priorities. This sentiment
साथियों,
will be
युवाओं
reflected
को
in the
अवसर
Raisina
देने
Dialogue Town Hall on March
और
5th,
देश के
where we
विकास
will gather
में
not only the G20
उनके
countries, but
सामर्थ्य
also
का
participants
उपयोग
from
करने
over
की
80
दिशा में
countries to be present and to discuss
ये
our common
भारतीय
future.
जनता पार्टी की सरकारों
That
की
collective future may be difficult to imagine
सबकी
at this moment, given what we went
प्रतिबद्धता
through in
का
the first
प्रमाण
2 years
है।
of this decade.
मुझे
Indeed,
खुशी है
has it only been 2
कि
years
ज्यादा से
from old
ज्यादा
conflicts
संख्या
resurfacing
में
in Europe to convenient
रोजगार
morality in
उपलब्ध
Afghanistan,
कराने के लिए
from complete disregard for the environment
केंद्र सरकार
to
के
selfish
सभी
acts
विभाग
during the
और
COVID-19
एनडीए
pandemic.
की राज्य सरकारें
This already feels like a very long
लगातार
decade,
काम कर रही
and
हैं।
this brought out the worst of humanity.
केंद्र
Forums
सरकार
like
के
this dialogue
अलावा
are
अब
seeking to
एनडीए
bring
के
out the best.
शासन वाले
It is during
14
these
राज्यों
gatherings that exaltations
और
could
केंद्र
catalyze
शासित
an
प्रदेशों में
inclusive development policy
लगातार
that is fit for purpose. The theme
रोजगार
for this
मेलों
year's
का
dialogue is
आयोजन हो
provocation,
रहा है।
uncertainty, turbulence.
आज जिन युवाओं
Lighthouse
को
in the tempest. Question mark.
नियुक्ति पत्र
Can all
दिए
of
जा
us
रहे हैं
assembled here in New Delhi be a lighthouse
उनके
in our own
उज्जवल
way?
भविष्य के लिए
As the world is being battered by a
और उनके
perfect storm,
परिवार के सुख
multiple
समृद्धि
beacons
के
are
लिए
needed to illuminate the way.
मेरी
India seeks to
बहुत
be one of
बहुत
them
शुभकामनाएं
and to
हैं।
inspire others to be the same.
मुझे विश्वास
Last
है
year, as we opened the dialogue, we
कि
made two
नई
promises to the Honorable
जिम्मेदारी
Prime Minister.
संभालने वाले युवा
First, that as hosts, we would
पूरी
follow the
लगन
sun to
और
where the
निष्ठा
best
के
and most
साथ
plausible ideas await.
अमृत
And
काल
second,
के
we
संकल्पों
committed
को
to
पूरा
investing in
करने
building
में
the next generation of
अपना
global diplomats.
योगदान देंगे।
This year, on February
साथियों,
18th, we launched Raisina in
पिछले
Sydney,
5 वर्षों
alongside the editions we host in Delhi,
गुजरात
Berlin,
में
and Washington, D.C. This
1.5
dialogue
लाख से
is now
ज्यादा
truly chasing
युवाओं
the
को
sun, seeking inspiration
राज्य
from across
सरकार
the
की
globe.
नौकरी मिली है।
This October,
सरकारी
this past
नौकरी के
October,
अलावा
we also inaugurated the Raisina Forum for the Future of
एम्प्लॉयमेंट एक्सचेंज
Diplomacy,
के जरिए
hosted in
भी
New Delhi and Varanasi.
बीते
We brought
वर्षों
together
में
diplomats from over 30
गुजरात
countries
में
to
करीब
rethink their official
18
responsibilities
लाख
and
युवाओं
ethics.
को
The world's diplomatic
विभिन्न
corps
क्षेत्रों
are now
में
the first responders to everything,
रोजगार
from
उपलब्ध
health
कराए
crisis
गए। गुजरात सरकार ने तो
to man-made and natural
बढ़ती
disasters.
कैलेंडर
The
बनाकर
investment in skills and
तय
character that
समय
will be
के
demanded
भीतर
of them need to be invested
भर्ती
in and
प्रक्रिया
need to be
पूरी की।
invested in now.
मुझे बताया गया है
Continuing our tradition of
कि इस
engaging the
वर्ष
brightest minds from around the
25,000 से
world, we
ज्यादा
welcome the
युवाओं को
2023 batch of the Raisina
राज्य
Young
सरकार
Fellows who
में
are seated
नौकरी
here to
देने
my
की
right.
तैयारी की है।
We have 48 fellows from 33
गुजरात सरकार ने
countries and a community which is now
टेक्नोलॉजी का
close to
उपयोग करके
2,000 from over 110 countries.
पूरी भर्ती प्रक्रिया को पारदर्शी बनाया है। इसके लिए अलग अलग डिजिटल प्लेटफॉर्म तैयार किए गए हैं, मोबाइल ऐप और वेब पोर्टल विकसित किए गए हैं। साथियों, अलग अलग सेक्टर में
Perhaps
भाजपा
that
सरकार
is the
के
only
प्रयासों ने
Welcome once
युवाओं
again
के
and let the conversations begin.
नए अवसर
I thank you
तैयार
for gathering here.
डायरेक्ट और इनडायरेक्ट एम्प्लॉयमेंट जनरेशन के लिए
I thank
केंद्र
you for
सरकार
gathering
ने
here, and I want
एक
to now invite
ठोस
the chairman of
रणनीति
the
पर
Observer
काम
Research
किया
Foundation, Mr. Sanjay Joshi, to introduce the
हमारा
dialogue
focus
and
रहा
a keynote address. And
इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर
inaugural speaker. Mr. Sanjay Joshi.
और विकास परियोजनाओं के माध्यम से अधिकतम रोजगार बढ़ाने पर हमारा फोकस रहा। मैन्युफैक्चरिंग को बढ़ावा दे करके रोजगार के नए अवसर
A very good
उपलब्ध
evening
कराना।
to all our distinguished guests.
हमारा फोकस रहा
Honorable Prime Minister of India,
स्वरोजगार के
Shri
लिए
Modi ji, our
देश
guest of
में
honor,
सही वातावरण
Excellency
बनाने
Giorgia Meloni,
और
Prime Minister of
नौजवानों
Italy,
को बिना
Honorable External
गारंटी
Affairs Minister,
आर्थिक मदद
our
देने
partners, the Ministry of External
हमारा
Affairs,
फोकस रहा
Ministers,
बदलते
Admirals,
हुए
Generals,
नेचर
this
ऑफ जॉब के
distinguished gathering
मुताबिक
assembled in this room
युवाओं
for
के
the 8th
स्किल डेवलपमेंट।
Raisina Dialogue.
साथियों,
2 decades
जब
ago,
विकास का
The
पहिया
phrase Vision
तेज गति से
2020
चलता है
used to evoke
हर
hope
सेक्टर
and
में
optimism over the future of the
रोजगार का
21st century
सृजन
world.
होने लगता है।
Riding on the back of global
आज देश में
value chains, free markets,
इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर,
into a world of universal
इंफॉर्मेशन
prosperity.
टेक्नोलॉजी
Well,
और अन्य सेक्टर
2020
में
came.
विकास
And
की
instead of a well-lit
परियोजनाओं
road
में
going to the
लाखों
future,
करोड़
we
रुपए
seem
खर्च
to have
किए जा
hit
रहे हैं।
a series of blind spots one
सिर्फ
after the other.
गुजरात में ही
And today,
केंद्र सरकार के सवा
the
लाख
engine of
करोड़ रुपए
globalization,
के
which is supposed to be the
प्रोजेक्ट
engine of growth, lies
इस
broken,
साल के बजट में
rudderless.
इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर के
And as we
लिए
assemble for the 8th
10
edition
लाख
of
करोड़
Raisina
रुपए का
Dialogue,
प्रावधान किया गया है।
we are challenged responding to a
लाखों
world
करोड़
where
रुपए का ये
multilateralism
इन्वेस्टमेंट
lies fatally wounded.
लाखों रोजगार भी पैदा कर
Wounded
रहा
in wars that spill into
साथियों,
multiple domains
है। दुनिया
that
भर
no
के
Geneva
experts
Convention controls.
ये मान रहे हैं
Trade,
कि आने
global
वाले
finance,
वर्षों में भारत
energy, food,
सबसे बड़ा
everything is a weapon.
मैन्युफैक्चरिंग हब बनेगा।
A hyper-connected
तो
world,
गुजरात की
hyperventilating
बड़ी
on Twitter
भूमिका है।
24/7,
भारत में
where
होने
the pandemic
वाली
of
इस
hate
क्रांति
and
का
anger
नेतृत्व
spreads with greater violence
जैसे
than
युवा ही
COVID-19
करेंगे।
ever did.
अब जैसे गुजरात के
Now, what
दाहोद
rules of
में
engagement do we
हमारा
now
आदिवासी
create for
क्षेत्र है।
countries and people
एक प्रकार से
that seem to
पिछड़े
have no
इलाकों
desire
में
to talk to each other?
वहां पर 20,000
But some
करोड़
argue
के
that
निवेश
the
से
answer lies in
रेल इंजन
building
का
gated
फैक्ट्री का
communities of
निर्माण किया
nations
जा रहा है।
that grant membership
गुजरात
based on the reliability of the
सेमीकंडक्टर
cardholders.
का भी बहुत बड़ा हब बनने जा
Mini-nationalism,
रहा
we
है।
called it.
ये सारे प्रयास
Well,
भी
others think that the answer lies
गुजरात
in
में रोजगार के
running the world's
हजारों नए
financial
मौके
affairs
बनाएंगे।
out of a
साथियों,
global capital
आज
located
सरकार
perhaps in the Swiss resort town of Davos.
विकास की जिस होलिस्टिक
Both
अप्रोच के
are
साथ काम
fatally
कर
flawed.
रही है उससे भी
The problems that confront
बड़े
us
पैमाने पर
cannot be
एम्प्लॉयमेंट
confined within
जनरेशन
these
हो
walled
रहा है।
gates. There's a real world out
पॉलिसी लेवल
there
पर हम
which will
महत्वपूर्ण
keep
बदलावों ने
invading, shattering the carefully constructed
ये जो
narratives,
नए
the
बदलाव हुए
norms,
हैं
the sanctions that
एक
pop up these
ऐसा
virtual domains.
इकोसिस्टम तैयार किया है
And caught in
जिसमें
between all this,
स्टार्टअप्स को आगे बढ़ने का मौका
our
मिल
nations,
रहा है।
middle powers,
आज देश में
beleaguered emerging economies
90,000
that given a
से
choice
ज्यादा
have no
स्टार्टअप्स काम
interest
कर
in
रहे हैं
engaging in geopolitical competition.
और वो भी
Much
Tier
less
2,
playing
Tier
ball
3
with
सिटी में हो
revisionist
रहे हैं।
powers keen to overturn the
इससे
existing global
रोजगार
order.
के नए अवसर तो बन ही रहे
These
हैं
nations bank
साथ
upon
ही
global multilateral
लाखों
institutions
युवा
to manage potential
स्वरोजगार के
conflicts
लिए
and smooth
प्रेरित
the
भी हो
impact
रहे
of trade wars and great power
सरकार ने
rivalries.
बिना बैंक
yet,
गारंटी
You know, as the
आर्थिक
business
मदद
of
दे रही
governance has got more
मुद्रा
complex,
योजना
more complicated,
और स्टैंड अप इंडिया
more than
योजना से
ever,
भी
we need new rules for the road
स्वरोजगार को
now.
बढ़ावा मिला है
We need
सेल्फ
new
हेल्प
rules of the
ग्रुप
road
से
now
जुड़कर
because
करोड़ों
we no
महिलाएं
longer travel just as a
अपने
community of
पैरों पर
nations.
मजबूती
We
से
have
खड़ी
been
हो रही हैं।
joined by many new actors
पूरे
who can
परिवार के
traverse these
आर्थिक
highways
व्यवस्था का
with
नेतृत्व
far
कर रही
greater
है
speed than the nations ever do.
सरकार इन महिलाओं
And these
को
are tectonic events
सैकड़ों
which
करोड़
are
रुपयों
taking
की
place,
आर्थिक मदद
and
भी
the
दे रही
greater their
है
magnitude, the weaker
साथियों,
is becoming our capacity to
देश में
respond to
बन
it.
रही नई संभावनाओं
And
के
mind
लिए
you, this is only
बड़े
act one of
पैमाने
this
पर
plan.
स्किल्ड
Already
मैन
we see
पावर तैयार
technology
करने की
moving
जरूरत है
to substitute
युवाओं
agency-led
के
order
स्किल
and
की ताकत
norms
से ही
by discrete
भारत
anonymized protocols
दुनिया
for
की
finance,
तीसरी
trade,
बड़ी
commerce
अर्थव्यवस्था
and
बनने का
communication.
लक्ष्य हासिल कर सकता है
For good or for bad,
हमारा
it is
प्रयास
difficult to
है
tell today.
कि स्किल
But
डेवलपमेंट
in
का
Act 2,
फायदा
which is coming,
समाज के
which
हर
is
वर्ग
called
को
the age
मिले
of the intelligent machine,
इसमें हमारे
now, unlike
दलित भाई
science
बहन
fiction, the
हो
machine age does not manifest
हमारे
itself
आदिवासी
suddenly
भाई बहन
as an
हो,
omnipresent, all-knowing
हमारा
chatbot
वंचित वर्ग हो,
appearing one fine day.
हमारी माताएं बहनें हो
Instead, it is slipping in each day,
सबको
camouflage in a
आगे
forest of
बढ़ने
cookies,
का समान
protocols,
अवसर मिले
self-learning algorithms,
इसी बात
Kafkaesque
को ध्यान में
structures,
रखकर
which
युवाओं के स्किल
fashioned by
डेवलपमेंट
tech
को भी
entrepreneurs, advertisers,
प्राथमिकता
agents,
दी जा
ordering
रही
and
है।
controlling the lives of the
पीएम
governed.
कौशल विकास
and the
योजना के
governed board.
तहत देश में
The question is, how
30 स्किल
democratic
इंडिया
or how
इंटरनेशनल सेंटर
intrusive
बनेंगे
these are going to be, and that is a question
यहाँ
that is
युवाओं
going to
को
keep on haunting us.
न्यू एज
And we can be
टेक्नोलॉजी के
sure
द्वारा
that in the days
ट्रेनिंग दी
ahead,
जाएगी
the negotiations and the
पीएम
confrontations
विश्वकर्मा
to settle
योजना
these
के
structures
जरिए
are going to be very
छोटे
intense.
कारीगरों को
So the Raisina
ट्रेनिंग देने
Dialogue
के साथ
2023,
उन्हें
today
एमएसएमई से भी
we are
जोड़ा
holding it as
जाएगा
India takes charge of the
इस योजना
G20,
के माध्यम से
and a year that
छोटे
promises to
व्यवसायों
be
से
more
जुड़े
than the
लोगों
ordinary.
को
This forum
वर्ल्ड
comes at a
मार्केट
time
तक पहुंच
when
बनाने में
many of us
मदद
daily
मिलेगी
believe that
हम
we have the
बदलती हुई
ability to incubate
nature
conversations
of
where
jobs
many
के
of
लिए
these
भी
posers must be responded
अपने
to.
युवाओं को
Our hope
लगातार
is
तैयार
that the
कर
Raisina
रहे हैं
Dialogue becomes one of the most influential of
काम
these
में
platforms during India's
हमारी
presidency, a
ITI
forum where each one of us
बड़ी
in these
भूमिका निभा
troubled,
रही है।
tempestuous times
गुजरात में
contributes to the quest for answers and
ITI
becomes
और
part of
उसकी
the lighthouse
सीटों की
that guides
संख्या
the
में
ship back
लगातार
safely to shore.
बढ़ोतरी हुई है आज करीब
Thank you. And with that,
600
I would like to
ITI में
invite Excellency,
अकेले
Dr.
गुजरात
Meloni,
में
to deliver a
2
keynote.
लाख सीटों पर
पहुंचे।
अलग अलग स्किल की ट्रेनिंग दी जा रही है। इस ट्रेनिंग प्रोग्राम को इंडस्ट्री की जरूरतों के अनुसार अपडेट किया गया है। मुझे खुशी है कि गुजरात में आईटीआई का प्लेसमेंट काफी अच्छा हुआ है। साथियों, हमारा फोकस
Well, dear Prime
रोजगार
Minister
सृजन के
Modi,
हर उस अवसर को
Excellencies,
विकसित करने पर भी है
distinguished
जिस
guests,
पर दुर्भाग्य
Namaskar.
से
It is
आजादी
an
के
honor for
बाद
me
जितना
to
ध्यान देना चाहिए था
inaugurate this year's
वो नहीं
Rising
दिया।
Dialogue and to do
बजट
so
में
in front of such an
50
extraordinary
नए
audience,
पर्यटन केंद्र विकसित
an
करने की
audience that
घोषणा की
includes
गई।
representatives
जैसे हमारे
from across the
केवड़िया
G20,
एकता नगर
with
में
whom Italy shares a
यूनिटी
special
मॉल है,
responsibility
वैसे ही
to find
हर राज्य में
solutions
यूनिटी
to
मॉल
our
तैयार
common
करने का
global
ऐलान किया गया है।
challenges.
इनमें
With
देश
this in
भर के
mind,
यूनिक प्रोडक्ट्स को
well, I
प्रमोट
would
किया जाएगा।
like to take this
इन
opportunity
प्रयासों से
to share
लाखों
my
लोगों के लिए
appreciation
रोजगार के नए
for
अवसर
Prime
बनेंगे।
Minister Modi's
इसके
hard
अलावा
work
एक
on
लव्य स्कूल
handling
में
a
भी करीब
complex presidency
40,000
and
टीचरों
to
की नियुक्ति
reiterate
का भी प्रावधान किया गया
Italy's
है।
full support
साथियों,
to its success.
आप सबको
I am told
गुजरात
that the
सरकार
name
के
of
साथ
this
जुड़कर
international conference
सेवा करने
comes
का
from
अवसर मिल रहा है।
Raisina Hill
ये
here
स्वाभाविक
in
है
Delhi,
कि ये
from which
आपके लिए
government is
और आपके
granted
परिवार के लिए,
a broader view
उत्सव
of
का
India's
क्षण।
capital
लेकिन
city.
साथियों,
In troubled
आप
times
एक बात
like
जरूर याद
today,
रखना,
this is, I think, a fitting
ये
metaphor
सिर्फ शुरुआत है।
of the vision that we as leaders,
जीवन की एक नई यात्रा का आरंभ है।
thinkers, civil servants
अगर
need
आप
to adopt.
सरकारी नौकरी पा
reminds
लेने
me
को
of
ही
the
अपना लक्ष्य मानकर
Palatino,
बैठ जाएंगे
The
तो
Campidoglio,
आपका
and the
अपना
other
व्यक्तिगत विकास
hills
रुक
on
जाएगा।
which our ancestors
जिस
founded
मेहनत
ancient
और
Rome
लगन ने
more
आपको
than
यहाँ तक पहुँचाया
2,000
है,
years ago,
उसमें
from
कभी
which
भी
an
विराम मत
extensive
आने देना,
network of roads
उसे आगे भी जारी रखना है।
connected different provinces,
कुछ नया
leading
सीखने
from
की
the
ललक
center of the Italian
जीवन
peninsula to very
आपको आगे
diverse
बढ़ने में मदद
cultures.
करती रहेगी।
And I think that it
आपकी
is also
पोस्टिंग जहाँ भी हो,
the way
वहाँ
we need of
अपनी
doing
कैपेबिलिटी बढ़ाने
politics
की,
today.
अपनी
When I was
क्षमता
running
बढ़ाने
for
पर,
the electoral campaign,
अपना ज्ञानवर्धन करने पर
I said that
आप जितना ध्यान
I
देंगे,
didn't want to climb the
आपका तो लाभ
institutions
होगा ही होगा।
to gain power.
आप जिस
I
क्षेत्र में
wanted
काम
to
कर
climb
रहे
the
हैं,
institutions,
उस
for it is
क्षेत्र का भी
the
लाभ
only
होगा।
way that you
हमारा
can
प्रयास
have
है
a better view
कि
of
हर
what is
सरकारी
happening and
कर्मचारी
give
को
best solutions.
बेहतर
And that is
ट्रेनिंग
exactly what I see
इस
today.
दिशा में हमने
As we look at
कर्मयोगी
events around
भारत
us,
ऑनलाइन प्लेटफॉर्म की
our
शुरुआत की।
identity
इस
shapes
पोर्टल पर
our field of vision,
मौजूद विभिन्न ऑनलाइन
both as
कोर्सेज का
individuals as
अधिक से
and
अधिक
as
लाभ
nations.
जरूर उठाइए।
identity
और
is
मुझे पक्का
shaped
विश्वास है
deeply by geography,
कि निरंतर
and at the same time,
अध्ययन
our thoughts
ये आपकी
could be
प्रगति
shaped
का
by
बहुत बड़ा
provocation.
हथियार बन सकता है।
Here I would
साथियों,
like to try to
एक बार
interpret
फिर
in a positive way
आपको,
the
आपके
very
परिवारजन
interesting
को
question posed by the
इस
organizers
शुभ
of
शुरुआत के लिए
this conference.
बहुत बहुत
And I will
शुभकामनाएं देता
start
हूँ।
from the word
आप सब मेरे
provocation,
गुजरात के भाइयों बहनों को
which
भी
could
होली की
certainly be
अनेक अनेक
considered
शुभकामनाएं
as
देता
an
हूँ।
affront
बहुत बहुत
to our
धन्यवाद।
sensitivities, but also as a spur to think in a different way. A challenge to accept the challenges
It's my pleasure to welcome you to
of
New Delhi.
uncertainty and
At
turbulence.
this particular instance, let me invite Ambassador Vinay Quatra, the Foreign Secretary of India, to speak to us. Ambassador Quatra.
Of our historic times.
Thank you very much.
This is definitely the era
Before I
of
was just
uncertainty,
walking up to the stage,
and at the
Samir
same
asked me
time,
if I was ready.
a period,
I said I'll
a
never be
period
ready, but
of
I'm always ready. You make your
unprecedented
choice when you want to call
turbulence.
me up.
We are in a
Thanks very much,
tempest,
Samir. Honorable
and we need
Minister
to
of
stand
External Affairs
tall
of India, Dr. S.
in
Jaishankar,
considering our
Honorable
common
Ministers, Excellencies, the
challenges.
Foreign Ministers,
We need to stand on
former
the
heads
hill
of state, heads of
to
government,
take a deep
Principal
breath
Secretary to the Prime
and
Minister
see
of
our
India,
lands and
members
seas
of Parliament,
and their
national
problems in a
assemblies,
more
military
enlightened way.
commanders,
We need a
philanthropists,
lighthouse in the storm.
sportspersons. Allow
That
me
is
to
why
indulge for a
opportunities
fan moment
like-
for a second and recognize Mr. Kevin Peterson, who's here with us this
Events,
evening.
which risk
Distinguished
to be
guests,
governed
Excellencies,
only with
ladies and gentlemen.
superficial thoughts
Namaste, good evening,
and hasty
Swagatam.
actions.
A very warm welcome to
Therefore,
all
let's
of you
go back
at this
to the
8th
fundamental
Raisina
factors,
Dialogue.
including
indeed
the
a pleasure
geographical one
Finally,
of our
able to
identities.
return to the
And
in-person
considering
format
some
of the
important
dialogue this
similarities between
That
the
we
wide
feel
and
collective
profound
gratitude for
wealth
being able to do
of
so
the Indian and Italian
we can
ancient
no longer take
cultures
it for
and
granted
contemporary
is a telling
interests,
sign of the times
I wonder
we live in.
if one
As
can
Samir
speak
said
of
in his
the
remarks
concept
a
of
short while ago, It
peninsularity,
has already been a very
which
long
could
decade.
have a place
Throughout
next to
this
those
eighth
of
session,
insularity and
Our eminent
continentality.
speakers and
Italy
participants
is
would
deeply
unpack
European.
the contemporary context
Our
and share
roots
their
and
insights
history,
on what
they are
lies
European.
ahead of us.
And together with the nation
We are
across the
honored to have
continent, we've
their distinguished
built Europe's
and
identity
distinct
through the
voices
centuries.
to reflect
Yet
on the
all of
provocative,
Italy's long coastlines
uncertain,
are
and
bathed in the
turbulent global
Mediterranean.
landscape
The
that we are
natural
all navigating.
environment where the Judaic,
evolutionary
Christian,
journey
and
of the
classic
Raisina
roots of
dialogue
Europe
over the last
have
8
developed.
years has mirrored
Geography has
the evolution
shaped
of the
our
global
culture,
landscape itself.
our outward projection,
is
and
one
our
perspective,
growth as
an interesting
civilization.
And I quote,
And much like India,
the Raisina
the
dialogue has
peninsular
evolved
factor has given
from a
us a
conference
crucial
focusing on
resource,
India's role in global
being
affairs
both a
to a
continental
prominent platform
and
for
a
dialogue on
maritime
global issues.
nation.
Over the last 8
A
years,
key advantage,
it has expanded in scope
making us natural
include a wide
platforms
range
from
of issues
trade, for trade,
grown in scale
logistics,
with
and
participation
the
from
dissemination
over
of
60
culture and
countries
science.
and become more
For
inclusive
centuries,
by engaging young
our
people
maritime
and
flows
women
have
in
looked
discussions.
towards the
The
south
conference reflects
and to the rest of the
India's growing
Mediterranean,
role
which
in the
remains our
international community
natural
and is an
neighbor,
important forum
and with
for
whom we are
exchange of
continuing to
ideas
build
on key
mutually
global issues
beneficial
such as
relations.
cybersecurity,
This is the spirit
counterterrorism,
enshrined
climate
in our
change,
vision,
and technology.
also dubbed
I
the
unquote.
Mattei Plan
But
for
why
the
did I say what I
Mediterranean
said
and
as
for all
in
the
quote
African
unquotes?
continent, with
I
its
said this
growing
because
population
this
challenges
description
and
of Raisina dialogue
opportunities.
is not
A vast
mine.
region which has also
The
the
intellectual
resources,
property rights
starting
of
with
this
energy,
perspective
which are so
belongs
crucial
to
for Europe,
ChatGPT,
but which should first of all
which in my view
benefit the peoples
is much
who are
more
the
than
owners
what Mr.
of these
Joshi
commodities.
said earlier on during the evening.
Our
a
objectives
self-learning
are
algorithm.
simple.
This is
Ensuring
much more
ensuring
than
prosperity, peace, and
Generative
lasting friendship through
artificial
collaboration
intelligence tools
on an
and
equal
other modern
footing.
technologies
A collaboration
such as
aimed at
ChatGPT
providing tangible
can both
benefits
guide
for all,
as well as
without
mislead.
predatory
Are they
ambitions,
provocative?
without coercion,
Yes.
economic
Are they
or
uncertain?
otherwise.
Double yes.
In this first
Will
few
they cause
months of my
turbulence?
tenure,
Triple yes.
I gave priority to
But
developing
this
equal
provocation,
partnership on common
uncertainty,
priorities such as
turbulence
energy,
of
and Italy
the
is working to
existing
be the
or
bridge
yet to emerge
connecting
lights of
the
ChatGPT
Eastern Mediterranean,
is
Africa,
is of a
and Europe.
kind that in my view is
Producer countries should benefit
exhilarating
from their
and
resources
stimulating.
for their
Is it
own
black
prosperity
swan?
and stability.
Is it
Green
tempest?
energy,
Is it
hydrogen,
lighthouse in the tempest?
and electricity
Could be either
will
of
more
them.
and more
Could
be
be all of
locally
them.
produced for their own
But
citizens
Even
and
outside
for
the
Europe.
field of technology,
Much like
we
the
inhabit
energy
a global
transition,
landscape
the digital
that seems
transition is
increasingly
also
fraught
based on
with
connectivity.
provocations,
Data
uncertainty, and
are the
turbulence
energy
of
of
another
our
kind.
digital societies,
Eighth Raisina
and they will
dialogue
flow
takes
from
place
India to
against
Europe
this
across the
backdrop.
Mediterranean
Excellencies,
and
we
Italy.
inhabit a world
The Blue
where
Raman project
provocative grey
will
zone
link the
tactics
Indo-Pacific
determine
to our
the shape
European
and
economies.
substance of our response metrics.
In the past,
where the
the
conflict
Alps at our
infused
north
supply chain
protected
disruptions,
Italy.
economic distortions,
but they were
the
also the
resultant
area
curve
of connection
inflation,
to the
the
rest
rising
of
curve of
Europe.
inflation, I should say,
Likewise,
and multiple
the
economic
Mediterranean
insecurities
Sea
of
was
food,
for centuries a
fuel,
sort of blind
and
alley,
fertilizer force us
the
to
extreme
redefine
appendix of the
unsettlement.
Atlantic Ocean.
where ever
Human
intensifying
progress
contestation of global
And
commons,
ingenuity, however,
unabated
made
threat
the
of terrorism,
impossible
rapid
possible.
shifts in technology,
A change in
and I
geography,
just outline only
a
one,
passage from the
with
Mediterranean
split
to the
views on
Indo-Pacific
its access
through
and
the Suez
governance,
Canal.
combined with
Today,
continuing
the Mediterranean
inability
is really
and
the sea in the middle,
dysfunctionality
the basin
of
which
the
stands
weakened
between
global
the
institutions,
two major
reduces
maritime
space for dialogue
spaces
and
of the globe,
diplomacy,
the Atlantic
inflates
and the Indo-Pacific.
fragilities, and breeds
Italy, with its
multi-domain
peninsula, which
turbulence,
lies in the very center of the
where
Mediterranean Sea,
despite
continues
deepening
to be
challenges
in every
of
way a
environmental
fully
degradation,
integrated part of the
growing
Euro-Atlantic
perils of
community
climate change,
and of the cultural
an
and political
increasing
West.
frequency of
But it is more
damaging
and more
natural
projected
disasters,
towards the
we still
Indo-Pacific,
refuse to adopt
regaining the
sustainable
history of our
lifestyles.
maritime republics
However,
and of
there are
Marco Polo,
reasons for optimism.
especially after the opening
India,
of the Suez
we
Canal.
believe, is
The laws
uniquely
of,
positioned
of
to embody and
physics,
even invoke this
starting with the
optimism and
communicating
channelize this
vessels,
hope
are those
for
of
a
trade.
future that
The
are
impact of
determined
such a
to
shift
reach.
are hard
Besides being,
to
as
exaggerate.
the Honorable Prime Minister of India
150
has
years
often
later,
articulated,
as the Indo-Pacific
the mother
has
of
become a
democracy,
crucial center for
India
gravity
is one
for the global economy.
network nation,
40%
both
of the EU's
internally
foreign
and
trade passes
externally,
through the South
and an
China
anchor
Sea,
of stability
and much more
for global
transits
economy.
through the Indian
Two,
Ocean.
our economic
Our
rise
two regions are
represents
more
a regional
interconnected,
and global opportunity
interconnected
of
than
tremendous
ever before.
significance. Three,
Together, we
we are a
account for
force of good, a believer in
70%
harmony,
of global
and of
trade,
course, an
and the
engine of
EU
growth.
has become the biggest
We are
investor
also
in
a
the
credible voice of
Indo-Pacific,
reason
which
and
contributes
moderation.
to
Our
two-thirds
actions at home
of global
and abroad
economic growth.
reflect a deep
The
sense
world's
of international
ocean
responsibility.
Connect
As an
us.
important member of the global
They are
South,
essential to global
we
commerce
seek to
and
channelize this voice,
our way of life.
its concerns,
Today, shipping
its
makes
interest,
up 90% of all
priorities.
international trade,
but we also
and
aim to
freedom
make
of
them
navigation
partners
is crucial
and be
for our
beneficiaries
economies.
of our developmental
Global
experiences
interconnection
by sharing
has enabled
India's
our economies to
sustainable
cooperate and
developmental
flourish,
templates.
but
The future
it
of
comes at a
globalization
cost,
project is
especially in
fundamentally
times of
linked to
turbulence
India's own
with the
modernization and
international
progress.
community.
India's
What
engagement
happens in
with the
Europe
world
affects the
reverberates
Indo-Pacific
civilization principles
in ways
of
it would
pluralism,
not have
inclusivity,
in the past.
openness,
And what happens
democracy,
in the
and
Indo-Pacific
respect for nature.
has direct
Our culture teaches
repercussions
us
in
to
Europe.
care and share.
This is not a
Vaccine
surprise.
Maitri,
This is not a
vaccine
black
friendship,
swan.
Maitri standing for friendship.
It's,
During the COVID
It is
pandemic,
rather a gray
and most
rhino
recently,
we should have seen.
in the form of Operation Those as in
And
friend,
it is something we need to keep in mind as we move forward.
citizens.
This
to
implies
the
a new
rescue and
approach on
relief
how
of
we
Turkish
work
citizens,
together. We need to
which,
see the
affected
world
by the devastating
through
earthquakes,
progressive lens,
are some of
to
its
focus
better
with
known
the same
and
level
more
of
recent
attention
examples.
on both long
This is
and
also the
short
spirit we wish to
term
evoke
dynamics.
during our
We face a
presidency
war
of
of
the
aggression
G20,
which brings
which
us
comes at a
back to
time
the
of
tragedies of the 20th
global
century,
challenges, some
but
of
at the
which
same
I
time we
outlined
need to have the
earlier on.
necessary
Conscious
vision
of
to be
expectations from
prepared
India,
for the
we
challenges
organized the first
of the
Voice of the Global
21st
South Summit
century.
in January this year.
The
under
COVID-19
leadership of Prime
pandemic
Minister Shri
shook
Narendra Modi,
the
to
foundation
deliberate
of
with the
international
fellow
trade
members
and
of the Global
mobility,
South on challenges
exposed
being faced by them
profound
in the current
weaknesses
global
in the
context.
resilience of global supply chains
125 countries out of
and in
135 invited
globalization
participated,
as
which
we
for us was
knew it.
unprecedented. But at the same time,
They said we
it was
could
also
could
fruitful
solve
in allowing us to
every
get
problem
a
with
better
free
sense
trade.
of the pulse of the
We
developing
were going
world.
to have
Our
democracy
endeavor
and
since then
richness for
has
everybody,
been to incorporate
like that.
those learnings
and we have
into
to
the
face
G20
what we were
process.
wrong in.
This is
As
in many ways reflected in the
we
manner
worked to overcome
in which
these
we have
challenges,
articulated
recovered
India's
from the
priorities
pandemic's
during our G20
devastating
presidency.
impact, and
In
restore
conclusion, Excellencies,
global
I
trade
would
flows.
say that the
The Russian war
multifaceted
of
and
aggression
global brand
against
that
Ukraine
lies in our dialogue
disrupt
encourages
global
its
energy
participants
prices,
to be bold in their thoughts
endangered
and
food
brave in their
security, and
intent.
sent waves
This
of
is what I
inflation
hope would
across
be
the world,
flavor of not
to the
just tonight's
detriment of the
discussion,
most
but indeed also
vulnerable,
of the next
especially in the global
100
south.
plus sessions over the next
And it also
couple of
put at
days.
risk global stability,
These
peace,
words,
security,
let me
which
once
depend
again welcome
on
all the
a
distinguished
predictable,
participants,
rule-based
excellencies,
international order.
to Raisina Dialogue.
Just
8th
1
edition
year
of
ago,
Raisina
we
Dialogue
were poised to
23,
face the challenges
and
of the
hand over the floor
21st
to the mic
century,
to Dr. Samir Saran,
which were
to
eradicating
begin.
poverty, addressing climate
Thank you very
change,
much.
managing the impacts of digitalization on information flows and on daily life in our societies, handling the
So this
advent
next
of
session
new
is
technologies
going to be a
such
look
as
back and a look
quantum
ahead
computing
conversation
and
with five fantastic
artificial
folks.
intelligence.
Let me invite the Minister for
However,
Europe and Foreign Affairs
the
of
events
France,
of
Catherine Colonna,
February
on stage.
24th last
Ma'am,
year
please
brought
join
us back to the
James
wars of
Cleverly,
20th
Secretary of State, Foreign
century.
Commonwealth and Development Affairs UK.
I was in
Please,
Kiev
join
last
us on stage, sir.
week.
Minister Rasmussen,
I witnessed
Charge of Foreign Affairs in Denmark.
hard reality on the
Delighted to have you
ground
with us,
and
sir.
felt the strength of the
Minister Retno,
Ukrainians' national
Minister of Foreign
spirit
Affairs
among
of
the
Indonesia. Can I request you to
destruction.
Please take the stage as well, and of course,
The war
Mr. Bill
is
Gates,
a war in
co-chair, the Gates Foundation, the US,
Distant geographically
who
from
obviously
many
will
other
always
parts of
have
the
some
world,
excellent insights
which
to
in
share.
many cases are facing their own hardships closer at hand. This should not, however, overshadow the relevance of what is,
Like the Foreign
at
Secretary mandate,
stake.
we have to be bold and
Russian attack is not
in some sense,
simply an act of
provocative in
war
both our
or a
questions and our
localized
responses.
conflict. It's an
Let me
act
first
against the
start with,
territorial integrity
Minister Retno.
of a sovereign nation,
Congratulations on a
in violation
fantastic
of the
G20
fundamental
presidency, the
principle
best
of the
that
global
Gujarat Rozgar
order
Mela, and it was
that
clearly something
enables
that
the
you, had
international
invested a lot into.
community
So well done.
to thrive.
You now take over the chairmanship of ASEAN.
And we cannot allow
First, give
the
us some
very
tips as India
foundations
leads the G20 this
of
year. Give us some
international
tips on
law
how to navigate this
to
storm.
be threatened,
But more importantly,
without which
what
only
would you
military
bring
force
into the
would
ASEAN
be taken
chairmanship?
into account,
There are some issues there
and
as
every
well.
state
For
in
example,
the world
Myanmar.
would risk
How
being
does
invaded
Indonesia
by
see
its
its
neighbor.
chairmanship, and what
These
are
are
your
not
approach
only the
to this particular
interests
year going
of the European countries. These are the common
Last
goods
night I didn't sleep.
for the coexistence of all
I might not
countries
sleep
of the
again
world.
because I will be on the plane to
We
Tokyo. And I
cannot
started
sit
my intermittent fasting
idly in the
since
face of
2
this
o'clock. It's 2 o'clock. So
with this
my
provocation
apology
at
if
the heart of the
I
UN
don't think
Charter,
so.
which threatens to
So,
undermine
well, thank you
stability
very much
across the
first of
globe.
the word of appreciation to
And we
the,
cannot allow the law
presidency of
to
Indonesia
the
in
law
the
of the
G20.
strongest
But
to overcome
I have
the
to convey
strength
at the same time
of
my
law.
appreciation to all
I know
G20
that
members for the support.
there are many
And
who
I'm
feel
sure
that
that
Europe has in the
India
past
will
failed
be able to
to
do it,
acknowledge
and maybe
that
will
the
do it
world's
better.
problems
So,
are also its own. And perhaps
can
until the past few years, our
because for me,
geopolitical
if you
stance
ask
has
me,
been less
well,
vocal
it is like
than
a
it could have
mission
been.
impossible.
This is no longer the case.
The perfect storm,
And
but we
initiatives
are able
such
to-
as the EU
So
strategy
from
for the
that,
Indo-Pacific
then what I
demonstrate
can
that
say
our
is that
views
the G20
have
under the
indeed
presidency of
broadened.
Indonesia create a new
Regional
era.
affairs rapidly
If we
turn
are
into
united,
global
if
affairs
we
in
want
today's
to
interconnected
give the
world.
cooperation
And
and
unfortunately,
collaboration,
Europe's
then
problem
together
today
we
has
will
become
be
the world's
able
problem.
to make it. So
Italy and India
sometimes in
share
our world, the
a
terms
profound
cooperation,
conviction
collaboration is very
that
simple.
only the rule of
But
law
when it comes
can allow
to the
humanity to prosper and
implementation,
develop
the deed,
in balance and
that is
harmony.
not easy. That
As
is not easy
forward-looking
at all.
countries
So I
with
will
rich
try to
cultures
bring
dating
this
back
hope
millennia,
to the
we have a
chairmanship of
common human-centric
Indonesia in
vision
ASEAN.
in which
The
democracy,
challenge remains the
science,
same.
peace, prosperity
External,
go hand in
internal,
hand.
you mentioned about
The
Myanmar.
relationship
But
between
again,
artificial intelligence and ethics
collaboration,
is
cooperation,
crucial.
inclusiveness,
All
I think,
developments
are
must
keys
be
to make the
human-centered.
chairmanship of Indonesia,
Our strength lies
Ma'am,
in
can I
our
also,
human capital,
point you towards the
in our
Indo-Pacific?
abilities to
Again, it
create
has
and to push
competing
the
forces,
boundaries of science,
competing interests,
knowledge and technology while
tensions, and
keeping the
perhaps,
state at the service of
borderline
our
conflicts
citizens.
in
We are
many ways
building new
ensuing
bridge
at this very moment.
between
How
academic
does
and research
ASEAN
centers
respond to this new
of
development in
Italy
its
and
waters?
India.
Well,
Despite the long
you like it or
history
not,
of our
if you look at
respective
the
people,
ASEAN, in the last
we
50
are
years, we are able
both
to be the
young
motor
as
of
states.
maintaining peace,
We have,
stability, and prosperity.
we have
in
had
Southeast
to
Asia.
overcome
If you talk
intense
about ASEAN,
similar struggles
then there's
to
also
establish
always there
ourselves
the
as
story of the
independent
economic
states.
growth, for example.
It is no
This year, the
coincidence
projection of
that the
ASEAN
Italian
growth is 4.7
Risorgimento
compared to
was
the world
among
growth.
the sources
Why the growth
of
is there?
inspiration
Because
for
we are
many
able to
Indians
maintain
fighting
peace
for
and
their
stability in
independence,
Southeast Asia.
and that the
But
work
we
of
want
Giuseppe
to
Mazzini,
inject this
a key
goal,
figure for
the
Italy's
spirit of
unification,
cooperation, the spirit of
was
inclusiveness
translated,
in the Indo-Pacific,
read,
in the
and studied
largest,
by
region
many
in the
Indian
Indo-Pacific.
patriots.
So that's why
Gandhi
couple years
himself,
ago, ASEAN,
whose young India
issued the
drew
ASEAN
from
Outlook on the
Mazzini's
Indo-Pacific.
Giovane Italia,
And what we
recognized
want to do
his
now,
influence,
under the
saying,
chairmanship of Indonesia, is to
"There are few
implement
examples
the ASEAN
in the
Outlook on
world
Indo-Pacific,
of a
because
man
the
who
ASEAN
alone
Outlook on the
accomplished
Indo-Pacific
this
is the
country's resurrection
inclusiveness,
by the
plus
power of
we want
his
to focus on the
thoughts and
cooperation, concrete
extreme
cooperation,
dedication
collaboration. Because,
throughout the course of
sometimes
his
when we talk
life.
about the Indo-Pacific, we
Our
focus more on the
civilization-
security issues.
Civilizations
We said that
have
security
met,
issues is very important,
touched,
but at the
and
same time,
influenced
for the developing
each
countries,
other
development,
along the centuries.
economic cooperation
There are
is
many
also
examples, but
equally
one
important.
struck
I'm going to
struck
come back
a
to you
particular
with a few more
chord with
questions
me.
in a bit. Let me now
The
turn to
discovery
Europe. Perhaps let
of
me
an
turn to,
Indian
Minister
ivory
Rasmussen.
statue
We
in
heard
the
about
2,000
ASEAN,
years
collaborate,
old
cooperate,
ruins
partner,
of
create
Pompeii.
stability. What's going on in Europe?
A powerful
How is Europe doing in that
testimony
particular
of the
aspect?
depth of our
Why
historical
is the continent aflame
relations
again? Why is no one
Our
talking
cultures
peace
are
and
hymns
pathways to end this
to
conflict?
life and love,
Your
and we will
perspective,
continue
your
to fight with
outlook
determination
on
against
will
those
2023
who
be
worship
different?
hate and
Can
violence.
the rest of the world see
Terrorism
a calmer Europe
is
again?
a cancer that also needs
quite a question,
to be
isn't it?
faced through a wide international
perhaps some
cooperation,
element of
and
an
it must
answer.
be addressed with leadership and resolve.
I mean,
As I sit in
represent a
my
very small
office
country, Denmark, only 6
in
million
Palazzo
people.
Chigi in Rome,
We are doing pretty
which is known as the Prua
It
d'Italia,
hasn't been the case for many
the
years.
bow
Actually,
of
if you
Italy,
compare with the
I'm
history of
often
mankind,
reminded
it's
of my nation's
probably
maritime
only the
nature.
last, well,
As we
I would say
navigate the
200 years,
waters of the world,
we have